All right. What's up, everyone? This is Bryan from UNIHACK, and welcome to a new segment. So, today I had a chat with Max Lee, who is currently a site reliability engineer at Google. More importantly, over the past 5 years, he's been a UNIHACK winner, mentor, and judge. We talked about what led him to UNIHACK and how it got him his first job, why he still stays involved in the student tech community even after graduating, and what it was like being an international student. This was a great conversation with some really great advice, especially if you're a university student. So kick back, put this on the background if you want, and I hope you enjoy. Welcome, Max, to our new segment, and thanks for joining us. You know, we met for the first time last week, and I think obviously you're a very interesting guy. Like, you've been a part of UNIHACK for like the past 5 years pretty much. And I don't think you realize that either, that you've been there for so long. And yeah, you're obviously doing quite well for yourself.
Okay.
So I think there's a lot of like value to unpack in this conversation. I guess the first thing I really wanted to ask you was, how did you first hear about UNIHACK and what drew you to participate that first time?
So back in school, I was thinking about how I can like make myself a bit different to other people. Like because at the end of the day, you're marketing you're marketing yourself to other people to find a job when you're finding a job. So I wanted to make myself stand out, and one of them was doing hackathons. So starting like late first year of my uni, I started joining a bunch of them. And UniHack just happened to be one of the many ones I joined, and
Yep.
actually one of the last ones I joined too. My project was figuring out what's left over in the fridge and then telling you what to make out of the leftovers, like what food you can make out of the
Yeah.
leftovers. So it was like a recipe finder thing plus an hardware thing to like barcode items into the fridge, essentially. um,
Wait, yeah. Wait, that's so cool. So you would have to scan like the food you put in the fridge through like an app, and then it keeps like a track of all your food at any time. Is that right?
yeah, exactly. And like the first version was we actually had we had like Arduino and like barcode reader, and the plan was you attach it like next to your fridge, and then when you put your food in, you scan and put it in, and then forget about it, and then you're it will keep track of when it's added, so that it kind of estimates the expiry date to
Yeah.
tell you like, hey, this is gonna expire, so you should probably cook with this and build something with it. So it was that kind of app. I did it with my bunch of other friends from school, and my role was just a tech guy, just like every other guys in the team. So it wasn't anything special. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we all were working like equally hard, and no one was like overworking or anything. So our work distribution was actually really good, unlike uni projects. Surprise.
Right. So I guess you did like a bit of everything. I mean, that's pretty intense to also do have like a hardware component, because I guess most people, they just build like a software product for the hackathon.
Yeah, there was a mate who has special interest in hardware and like expertise in hardware. He was
Yeah.
Anton. He did most of the hardware stuff. And the software people figured out, we essentially agreed on some kind of interface and APIs to work on, so we could work individually and then bring everything back together. It just worked after that.
Yeah, yeah. So when I was like looking into like um, I guess your background for this interview, I saw, as you said, you did a couple hackathons, and you did like pretty well at them. Like, I
Ah,
think like you
thank
you
you.
placed like, like first, second, third place, like along those lines, right?
Yeah.
In all of them. So I was just really curious to know like what were the main takeaways you got from those experiences, and are they things that you carry on with you even now in your career, or was it just a way to like boost your early career when you were just like a student?
Right. Let's talk about the first part. So what did I learn? and that is actually still valuable until now. So I learned working in a like even before uni projects were a thing, I was already working in small projects in a team. So learning how to do that was extremely valuable because at the end of the day, you can't like working alone is so much different to working with people, and uni doesn't really teach you that. So understanding and communicating with other people. So that was like one of the key things I learned that I still use because surprise, you don't work alone at work in the professional environment most of the time. So that carried over. Another thing I learned was working under pressure because hackathons were just a very very intense moments, and you only have like a few hours, right? So I hope I don't get to use that skill ever again because it's stressful, but that's a skill that I acquired. And obviously, friends I met along the way are the most valuable things I gained, I think, because I got to meet really cool people, like Keaton from Black AI. Like, I think he's like one of the coolest people I've ever met. So is Michelle, or Karthik. Those are those three from Black AIs back in the day, and a bunch of other industry experts that I met. So exciting.
Yeah.
And that's how I kind of got to meet my friend who I worked with for a while in a startup called Momentum, which is a student consulting company thing that
Yeah.
we did for a while. Yeah.
Okay. Actually tell me more about Momentum, because to firstly have a startup as like a student is obviously like a big deal. A lot of time commitment, right? Like tell me more about that.
Oh, okay. Uh, Jackson, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. Okay, first of all, so Jackson and I were essentially Jackson invited me to his thing. So he wanted to make a student consulting firm where he could fetch work for the company could get the work done in a relatively cheap manner, but also and students could get work experience while studying. So that was one of the main goals, and I was like the first tech person to join the company, and it was easy ride for me because I just had to figure the tech out, and he figured everything else out. So I had a very easy time.
Yeah.
And we had Amit, who was like ex IBM person who gave us advice on
Well,
things. So that was pretty fun. But like obviously, it was a lot of time commitment and a lot of work. And I think I was there for like a few months. And after that, I kind of rage quit because I got too tired from uni work and momentum. Because I couldn't there was like too much assignments to do, and I was also working at the same time because I had to earn money to feed
yeah.
myself. So I didn't really have time to do all these things, so I had to drop it off. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I
hence
mean
the
that's
initial
fair.
apology to Jackson that I did.
That's fair. Sorry, Jackson, if you're listening to this. But actually, yeah, I want to touch more on your work experience a bit later on. But I
Sure.
guess since I'm representing UniHack today, uh, I just want to ask you, like, what made you want to come back to UniHack each year?
Um, it's a difficult question, right? Because even I am not sure. But let's think. Let's walk through. Obviously, if someone is like had a good run in a competition, then you kind of want to come back, I guess,
Yeah.
to like because you won it before, so you're like, oh, maybe I should come back and do stuff and represent people, represent like what you could become. Um, Actually, that was one of the big things. I back in the day in when I was a student, I had a lot of doubts on my career path, and I didn't know where I was heading. Despite a lot of people just helping me out. So I kind of wanted to be a live example on as a as what you could become when you graduate and if you participate in UNIHACK or these hackathons, because that's essentially all I did. So I wanted to represent that so that you can have at least one sample point um, on your future career path. So that was one thing. And at the end of the day, helping people that always, makes you feel good in various ways. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to feel good, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Feel achieved and helping people because
So so like the
yeah.
whole like mentoring aspect was something that was really important to you, I guess.
Yeah, mentoring and like building relationships with people was the most important
Yeah.
thing. Hearing people suffer in their studies or you know or in their projects, and just being there to listen to them was also pretty good.
Yeah.
Because it felt like I helped out a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That I mean I think I can really respect that because I definitely feel the same way. Like I felt the same way, like how you felt as a student, sometimes not knowing what you want to do for your career. And sometimes it's like information can be hard to find, whether it's about how to get a job or how to stand out, right? And yeah, I'm in my final year as well this year. So I had to do a lot of that introspection over the past year. Um, and yeah, like I think having someone who you can ask questions to about these things and to like give you advice is so important because um, that's what happened to me as well. Like there were a couple people who I've had conversations with, and they weren't necessarily like a mentor to me, right? But I've just had conversations with them. But the impact is like profound
Right.
because it gave me so much more like direction and inspiration. So I think it has a lot more impact than I guess uh, people think when you just see like mentor at face value. So yeah, I think
Right, I
that's really
see.
cool. Yeah,
I hope
and
that experience gave you somewhat confidence or assurance in your studies because back in school I didn't know why I was studying algorithms because like as this is this actually being used in the industry, like what is this?
yeah, yeah.
Spoilers, it really isn't, but most of the time. But it's assuring to know. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I want to talk about that later. I mean, it's such a big issue because software engineering is like growing so much as a field, and there's so many disciplines you can pick.
yeah.
But then when you're in uni, all you really learn is like the fundamentals, I guess, the theory fundamentals.
Yes.
You don't really learn, specifically like how to be a data scientist or how to be, I don't know, a Java backend engineer, whatever, right? It's just like you just kind of have to do that exploration yourself. But you know what I found really interesting is you said that initially you joined UniHack as like a way to like I guess pad your resume a bit, like
Oh yeah,
you
yeah,
wanted you
definitely.
wanted to market yourself
Yeah.
from other students. But then obviously like you've done so much volunteering even after you graduated, and like now you have like a pretty good job. Like so, I just um, kept a note of some of the things you did. So besides
Before that,
mentoring,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
pretty good job. I love how you mentioned pretty good job. I, I'm guessing your bar is like super high.
All right, fine. You have a great job. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So so moving on. So you did like not just mentoring, but like presenting, for example, with like CISA, which is a computer
Yep.
science club at Uni Melb. And you also did things with CSC SOC, which was at UNSW. So I guess you kind of talked about it. So mentoring was really the main thing that kind of led you back to keep doing this even after you graduated. Is that right?
Yep. Pretty much.
Yeah, yeah.
Keeping in touch with students and knowing what they're doing essentially was the main thing I think for me.
Yeah, actually tell me about that. Like why do you think that's important to you to keep in touch with what students are um I guess doing and in the tech scene?
Right. Um, there were two inspirations I think. First was First was Clement, who was my head tutor for models of not models of computing, some subject in uni. Um, he was an industry expert, but also head tutor for a subject I was studying. So and he gave me a lot of great advice and insight. So that I guess inspired me to continue mentoring even after getting a job and have a stable income. Um, because he influenced me in so many different ways. Other than just academics, but more of a life direction, I guess. When I was having troubles or anything. So yeah, he was not just a subject mentor, but he was more of a life mentor. So
Wow.
I guess that's what I want to become.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, that's one of the reasons. And another reason is after observing professors at uni who engage with students a lot, I realized that they are very young for their age. They're very
Mm.
open-minded and they're very up to date on what's happening. So I wanted, I just want to stay young, man. I guess. I think staying around students and young people and try to understand them, um, keeps me young
Yeah.
and not out of touch.
That's
Except
good.
that I
That's
think
good.
I'm very out of touch right now. But anyway.
No, no, you're still young. You're still young. No, that's great. That's great. I love it. So, yeah, and when I was looking at your LinkedIn profile, I noticed something very interesting. So, did you grow up in Malaysia? Because I saw your like high school in um was in Malaysia.
Ah, yeah. Okay. Uh, yes, I did. So I'm actually born in Korea.
Yeah.
Um, but at some point in my life, so like primary three, my parents decided to move to Malaysia, at least just me and my mom, to study, and I was there for like 10 years. It was supposed to
Whoa,
be like 2 year, 3 year, pick up English thing, but it ended up being 10 years.
that's crazy. Okay, and the reason why like my mind is blown, right? Because just out of curiosity, I searched up like your school, and I'm
Oh
pretty
yeah.
sure a it's located around the area where like I'm from, like where I grew up and my family's from, because I'm from Malaysia.
Uh-huh.
So it's like around like Kajang Cheras.
Oh
Like,
yeah, yeah. Kajang
yeah,
Choras. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude. I was like mind blown. That's
Small
awesome.
world.